triple shots of espresso here, and I have to say this coffee is pretty good, keeping me going on the long campaign trail. First of all, may I thank everybody for coming here this morning. Friends, family, members of the Green Party, and John, and business interests, and of course the press. Thank you for coming to our lawn. We really appreciate it. We can't get enough of the oxygen at this time, so we're really appreciative of what you're doing. I'm particularly interested and happy that John and Kate and Mrs. McCarthy have come here this morning. My father was a great horticulturalist, and he used to go down, a great tree man, he used to go down to the original Nunso Hardy nurseries, and we had our own garden open to the public at one time. He was a great tree man. We had some of the finest specimen trees in County Wicklow. And then one day in my office in Kilkenny, in walked John and Kate, and they wanted to make sure that we had keep our commitment to forestry development here in Ireland. And I have to say, you know, John is a fantastic man, but under this avuncular face and present, there is a steel commitment to the forestry industry. And with Kate there as Steel Magnolia, Kate and John came to the office in Carlow. I said I'd do my very best to keep the Programme for Government Commitments of 2007, that we would copper fasten them in 2009. Then I thought I'd seen the last of Kate and John. What turns up in my Kilkenny office? Only Kate and John again, to urge us to keep the commitments. Now we all know what happened with the dreadful economic times we've been experiencing. But we in the Green Party wanted to make sure that forestry would breathe life into our agricultural industry, right for our friends here from Wingap who put in hectares and hectares of new trees, and hopefully will give them a great benefit in the future for themselves and for their descendants indeed. And John was saying to me that unless the programme was kept, these tiny little trees, there would be no programme if people weren't going to plant these little seedlings. And I went down, just to show you that all politics isn't nakedly local, I went down out of my constituency and saw what was happening in Shalala. I couldn't believe it. Acres, hectares I should say, hectares of little seedlings being planted out, and they have this ingenious method, a kind of a, I don't know, you devised it, John, but a couple of people on the back planting into individual holes, all sitting in a row, planting little holes, and somebody driving the tractor with a covered over kind of contraption at the back. The precision of that, and then to look at these tiny seedlings and to think that they were going to generate income. They were going to become the carbon sinks to combat climate change in our country. They were going to drive the jobs that would get us out of the deep recession we're in. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think every 6 hectares of forestry planted creates 1 job. We have the potential to sow at the minimum of 7,000 hectares a year here in Ireland. That industry would be lost if we the Greens hadn't been in government, and if people like John and Kate and their families hadn't taken and had the guts to develop that industry in the expectation that some part of government would have the vision to drive this industry forward. So on a personal basis, I'm absolutely delighted to have met you through constituents across the border, and to get to know you and to appreciate what you've done for us in the Greens as spreading the message. I also want to say too that I'm a businesswoman. I think I'm the only businesswoman running in the campaign from the Carlow side. I've run my own business for over 30 years. I've been a bookseller. I understand the business world. I understand the upward-only rent reviews. I understand the awful rates that local authorities have to put on us because they have to get revenue streams. I understand if you don't have footfall coming into your shop, that your shop goes bang. There's no big pension corporation looking after Malcolm's business or my business or John's business. It's sheer guts and determination that drives a small business. And that's why I like being in the Mugshot Cafe today, because it's a small, individual little business here at the heart of Kilkenny, and we're deeply supportive of the 42,500 small and medium-sized enterprises in Ireland. And I, as one of those business people, want to make sure that my business voice is heard in Dáil Éireann. And I want to thank especially this morning my good friend and colleague, Councillor Malcolm Noonan. Malcolm, I think, when I asked you to stand for the Greens, you said you took off for the hills. Like I did myself, I had to be asked 2 or 3 times. But we have no finer Green Party councillor in Ireland than Malcolm. He's done a fantastic job, not only as a councillor, but also as a mayor of this fine marble city. And he's led by example. And I was very privileged to be the minister for a short period of time. It's always great to resign your ministry rather than being dumped. And I was able to resign with dignity, wasn't dropped. And I think that's good for morale. And Malcolm, because of his work with the marginalised, the travellers, the migrants, people on the edges, people having a tough time, that dovetailed absolutely into my ministry. And we worked hand in hand here together in Kilkenny to reach out the hand of friendship. And when you're a junior minister, you do have a big budget. And we were able to disperse funding into Kilkenny for the travelling community, for the social services, for the environment, for extra initiatives for Rothhouse, and also to the big lump of money for St Mary's Church, the 800,000, which is so needed here to protect the fabric of that unique building. So despite the gloom and despite the tough times, we've been able to deliver, particularly in the areas that the Greens are known for, but also in key areas which is going to get Ireland out of the recession in education. No third level fees, maintaining the pupil-teacher ratio, and support for people who are vulnerable, suffering from disabilities, people with special needs. And I'm proud of our record in government of what we were able to do, and also too, people said to us, you should have left earlier, you shouldn't have gone in, you left it too late. No matter what we did, there's a different view and opinion on that street out there. But in our hearts, we knew on the 22nd of November we had to leave. It was like a bad marriage. If you're not actually connecting with your partner and you hit the wall, it's time to go. So it was like boy meets girl. We went out for a while and now it's over. So we're moving on. And we have an election in less than two and a half weeks. I want to thank everybody who's been trotting the roads, the pavements, the towns and villages on behalf of what Malcolm and I believe in, and hoping that we will have a strong green voice in the 31st Dáil. I want to thank you so much for coming today. Have another cup of coffee, enjoy some more chocolate cake, and thank you very much indeed. And as I say in the final episode of The West Wing, game on!